Serious, what new jobs, industries can we create to work from home and keep the economy stimulated during these difficult times? Attention! Serious, tag notice jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted in any comment, parent or child. Parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. Report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour, and posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an ARMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. My pharmacy just hired 10 out-of-work limo drivers to deliver prescriptions. Please say they use the limos. I may be interested in doing this for our local pharmacy. The pickup medicine line inside and out in the drive-thru is always so long. I was actually thinking that this would be the perfect time to really crank out those highway repairs, improvements. No more working at night for 3 hours at a time. No one is on the roads, just do it now. Obviously take medical precautions, but it would probably be less dangerous than your standard grocery store employee. This is exactly how the depression economy got jump-started again, massive multi-year public works projects like the highway system and hydroelectric dams. Having the roads at lower capacity would indeed reduce the cost. I mean, honestly, nearly every corporate, gov, office job can be done remotely. There is software available. Hell, Microsoft offered basically a free trial of Microsoft Teams, https://www.microsoft-365/blog/2020/03/05/r-commitment-to-customers-during-covid-19/closing parenthesis for 6 months. As someone who's worked remotely in these types of jobs, if employers would just get over their rigid mindset about everyone being in a stupid room together and let people get their work done using collaboration and teleconferencing software, many people would be doing just fine in their jobs. Removed. I work in publishing. It took 20+ years to get a 100% remote job and I have never been more productive. I hated working in an office. Urban technologies that would make growing and cultivating food easier even in small spaces in city. The Martian style. This has a lot of promise. Hydroponic gardening in old industrial buildings has been pioneered for a couple of decades now. The equipment doesn't have to be hugely expensive. We could definitely expand this industry a lot. Fresh local vegetables in every neighborhood. No need to fly them in from Mexico or Chile or California. And we have a lot of expertise, considering the size of the weed-growing subreddits. Winking face. They're doing vertical farms. Very efficient, pretty much just raw costs of light, energy, water, fertilizer. Saves on distribution costs because it's closer to consumers. I think there's opportunities for people to tutor people's kids remotely since the schools are shut. Kids can learn remotely but are missing that person who can help when they get stuck, I think. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. There's an opportunity for someone that can make a company that finds knowledgeable people, vets them and makes them available for students when needed. Now not all parents will be able to afford this, but I think many would consider this worth it, especially if they themselves are working from home and it stops the kids distracting them for help. So this actually is my job. The only issue is we tend to work on set curriculums that follow and complement the material learned at school. For enrichment kids we'll try and get them ahead. With no curriculum from school to follow, we have to do the base-level teaching as well, which is a slightly different skill set than tutoring, and necessitates some familiarity with the existing in-school curriculum. It's not a perfect substitute, but it helps kids from losing the material they otherwise would. Online tutor here. I do not recommend entering the e-learning or tutoring industry right now. Almost all of my appointments, all online, in the past week have cancelled because schools are on pause, which means no one cares about grades right now. Parents say they care about education, but they'll really only pay when it's about grades. Trump announced today that they'll no longer have standardized tests, which is very bad news for most of us. Aside from oversaturation in the past 10 years, the market is just tough unless you're part of a very legitimate brand and have several years employment experience as a schoolteacher. If you have a very niche subject, you might be able to get this going, but for most high school subjects it's an uphill battle. That said, my recommendations if you insist on joining. Make sure your education certification is updated. If you have a master's in education, psychology, child psychology, make that clear, as there's a lot of people without any certification. Be very familiar with the updated curriculum in schools, as most of the people hiring are looking for homework help. I don't know what's going to happen right now as schools are closed. Be clear on the niche. Don't teach history. Teach European history. Be very specific on what pain you're going to help the kids solve. There's a lot of free online content out there and nothing they can't Google. They're paying extra for a specific reason. In your marketing, make your educational experience the #1 point, and then the testimonials. Your webpage needs to have a clear background. Set firm boundaries and expectations. Most parents want promises of grades and you can't control that. Be clear on what you will cover. Emergency planning consulting, as this is greatly lacking. Alright, this one is yours. Go ahead and make this happen, and I'll try and send clients your way. The planning is there, just not the people to listen. How about home health telemonitoring as a first response for the frail and the elderly? A video checkup on a regular schedule. Miss the checkup, the police make a wellness check. If the caretaker, probably a CNA, hears something in the video checkup, the patient would be encouraged to seek further attention. A few simple tools could be present in the home to allow the patient or a caretaker to do simple measurements like blood pressure, blood sugar and heart rate. Diabetics who stop monitoring and/or don't log in the blood sugar on cue would also get a wellness check. In this way, people are less likely to slip through the cracks in an emergency. This is a good idea, but medical compliance is not an easy thing to ingrain into people's brain. I've literally told people, you will die if you don't do this, and they still shrug it off. Police would be overwhelmed with wellness checks if mandatory monitoring, for lack of better name, became a thing. They in turn would pass the buck off to EMS, an already overwhelmed industry, and just create more backup in hospitals. When granny decides a trip to the hospital would be nice even though not warranted, EMS can't say no. Telemedicine would be a much better option for those that want it. Sending an EMT paramedic with an iPad to PTS homes to FaceTime an RN, NP, or MD could potentially get wonderful results. You keep people healthy and checked on, but also out of hospitals. This bears further consideration. There are plenty of people who have no one living with them, and no one to check in. Ireland is doing this with police, to be sure the elderly are not forgotten at home. Most office jobs these days. We sit at our desks in our cubicles just so our supervisor or manager can watch over our shoulder. These jobs could easily be done at home, and employees should be judged on their output and/or quality of work rather than the number of hours physically sitting in a specific place. Going to need a lot more therapists, counselors and mental health workers. I work in mental health and I can tell you that transportation is a huge problem for a lot of people getting to the therapy appointments already, so online services could seriously expand the services to people who may otherwise not use them. Unfortunately, mental health is seen as a luxury, not a necessity. When jobs are cut and people have to pay out of pocket, there will likely be a reduction in sessions. Edit. In the US asterisk. Removed. I was thinking of one, perhaps something that shows you which grocery stores currently have a high load of traffic, customers. This way we can avoid each other, spread out our shopping to other stores. Not sure if Google has an API to allow for use of total cell phone traffic in an area. ? Google does actually do this where I live, UK, North. You can search for a business and it will show you a graph of how busy it usually gets at various times of the day, then compares that to how busy it actually is at that point. It's really useful. I hate busy places and have managed to avoid unexpected rushes a few times in the past. Government should allow digital notary authentication services. Attorney here, and absolutely no reason legal services can't be digital. There are privacy, disclosure, and privilege risks whether live or digital. Let's stop wasting trees and sprawling office space for egos. I have a feeling if the EarnIT bill goes through, this would no longer be the case, making live copies more secure. Deleted. Niche market, but I applaud your ingenuity. Repurposed to sewing washable masks with an insert for filters. The health industry in dire need of masks. Natural resource professional here. I've been beating the drum for years that we would benefit from a massive CCC-style mobilization to combat ecological issues like biodiversity collapse and invasive species management. totally spitballing here, but you could train people online to identify and treat invasive species, then give them the tools to go out and do the actual labor. GIS technology would allow people to track and assign work areas remotely. Many organizations already do this, in addition to more robust species inventory and population counts. Basically, pay people to go do work by themselves on applicable public and private lands. Is it a bad idea? Maybe. Am I day drinking? Sure, who isn't? Getting paid to do solitary, honorable work in nature sounds like a treat. And I'll be joining you in day drinking shortly. Also day drinking. Also a GIS guy who is drunkly stoked to see someone else mention it online. GIS is such a cool field, it def needs more exposure. I think it could benefit society a lot. Refurbishing old stuff. I know my stainless steel, copper, iron cookware needs a hard resurfacing and coating, but I own none of the stuff necessary to make it an easy job. Maybe also wetland restoration and killing invasive species. I know tons of kids that would love to spend it outside shooting snakes or catching Asian carp. The kinds of snakes that are classified as invasive aren't the kind you send your kids after unless you don't want your kids. Grocery drop-off is great, but I would expand it. Dinner drop-off. Local restaurants should do packaged dinner options that you can pick up. I know some already do, but more would be great. Home stores need a Victory Garden drop. Soil, seeds, netting, straw. The essentials grocery box. Bread, butter, milk, eggs. I am not used to shopping every 2 weeks, so having an essentials box I could get drive up would be nice. Neighborhood library cases. I would love to share books and puzzles with my neighbors, but don't really want to wait around for them. It would be great if there was a waterproof library nook we could put in the cul-de-sac island. Dinner drop-off. Local restaurants should do packaged dinner options that you can pick up. I know some already do, but more would be great. Essentially all of them around us are doing it now, but the amount of isolation they're maintaining seems to vary by a lot. The good places are zero contact, all payment over the phone, pick up outside the restaurant, zero contact, they set it down, you pick it up, etc. Friends of ours were in a sub shop recently that went as far as having zero contact between employees. The kitchen people place packaged food where a front-end worker delivered it to the counter, and the person taking payments never had any interaction with either. Some are a lot less careful, though, basically having people come in to get the takeout, or mixing takeout and delivery. Some of them are being a lot. Dinner drop-off. Local restaurants should do packaged dinner options that you can pick up. I know some already do, but more would be great. I think we should have bike drop-offs with 10 to 20 homes on a route and the same route each time to stop the spread. $5 per delivery is enough to earn a small wage for most. They will have to tighten the belts, but 'tis better than nothing. Neighborhood library cases. I would love to share books and puzzles with my neighbors, but don't really want to wait around for them. It would be great if there was a waterproof library nook we could put in the cul-de-sac island. Little free library, smiley face. Could maybe come up with some way to have virtual parties or a virtual bar. Figure out how make it seem like you're all together having a good time. Maybe some kind of Roku app that could split the screen up. Maybe VR goggles will make that possible. Ready Player One movie seems more realistic now. Add to this app an ingredient list before it starts. Do like, hang out with cocktail making and everyone makes the same drink so it is like being together even more. I really wish retail salesmen like me could become digital helpers for customers through the company instead of being let go. I was laid off, this is my last working weekend. My job was an experience consultant for a mobile company. I held workshops and one-on-one sessions with lots of clients free of cost to the customer. I helped with new device setups and transfers. There are a lot of people in my area that don't know much about cell phones or how to use them, so I actually stayed pretty busy helping customers all day answering basic things. Mostly older folks, but even a lot of younger folks have no clue sometimes. So I wish I could still offer help to them, but over video conferencing or something and still be employed by my employer. I see a need for virtual assistants becoming a thing for more people until things are looking up. You should do a YouTube channel for this. You can have them contact you for one-to-one help and make money that way. People still need help and you can help them, even without your employer. Where zoning allows, raise chickens, not roosters, and sell fresh eggs to your neighbors, friends, and others that respond to ads. A neighbor started raising hens about 2 years ago and is doing a lively business distributing fresh eggs locally. They can be left on people's doorsteps in a designated egg container, similar to the milkman's box, no face-to-face exchange required. I like the idea a lot, but before starting this, you have to check local and state regulations as well as FDA requirements to produce and sell any food. Licenses and inspections may apply. I'm doing this but with quail. Fresh eggs taste better anyways, and the grocery store in town has been off and on with stock.